Hi, another Thursday conversation. Just me today. And for those who are coming in new, I'm Yoni. I'm an adopted person. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. I'm also an adopter of two teenage girls. Um, and I also worked in adoption and fostering for pretty much 30 years, really, including my child protection experience. So, welcome. Um, I can't always see who's watching, so it would be amazing if you just put a hi in the comments, just so I know that I'm not talking to myself. But if I am, that's okay, because I know people watch after we've gone live. So um, today I'm going to talk about why I'm passionate about adoption. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing next week, Keeley, Craw, play therapist, and myself. So adoption and fostering. A lot of my professional work actually is around fostering rather than adoption. But I know for me personally, it was really a completely changing experience. When I was born to a woman who didn't want a child who looked like me, a child who was black, because she'd had a relationship outside of marriage. And so I went into the system very early on. And I know from what I found out later as a teenager that she had been in care, her mom had been in care, and her grandmother had been in care, in residential care. So I'm not surprised that she didn't feel equipped to look after me. But my then foster carers took over responsibility when my placement carers went on holiday, and so I stayed with them for the rest of my childhood, and obviously continued to have what I also experienced was a lot of support, a lot of love, but also they didn't always understand what things were like for me because I was transracially placed. Um, but I know that had I stayed with my birth family, then I would have had a very different life and perhaps not the expectations and the opportunities that I had as a child and as a young person. So I'm a real advocate of adoption. And it's been interesting sort of, as I've become perhaps a bit more visible, getting some pushback, some feedback from birth families who perhaps have got their own agendas around adoption. And I know that adoption creates loss and difficulty and trauma for young people and also for birth family. But I don't think that it's done lightly. And in my experience, also working with care leavers who perhaps lived their whole life in foster care or in residential units, that adoption provides a level of security and permanence that perhaps isn't always available in other ways of living. So I also have adopted myself, and I know it's such an amazing experience, and I've really enjoyed caring for my girls with my partner Evelyn and seeing them develop and grow. And it's not always been easy. And we had teenage kids in the household who took a while to adjust to having new adopted siblings, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And so that's I guess a bit of a potted history of why adoption is such a passion for me, and I know for yourselves and how fostering can be really transformational as well when it's long term and children come into a family and to stay. So that's why I do what I do. And I'd like to sort of talk to you a little bit more about what Keeley and I are doing next week. You might have seen a post a little while ago from Adoption UK, and for those colleagues who are not adopters and foster carers who are not based in the UK. Adoption UK is a adopters-run organisation, a charity. And what they were talking about was the system of PACE, which is a approach that people use in many different countries. I believe it started in the UK, but it's a strategy to give tools and ideas about how to parent, perhaps in a more thoughtful way. And what it means is PACE is playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and empathy. And I think for me, the fact that playfulness is in there is really important. And I know that sometimes as adults we don't talk about play, we don't think about play as being something that's very relevant to us. But more and more, particularly as I work with Keeley, I can see, who's a play therapist, how important it is in our children's development, but also learning about how much play is important for us as adults. And that might be going for a walk, taking the dog out. It might be sport, board games, even watching TV and having a chat about it. So Adoption UK were pointing out that some areas of PACE, of those three, of those four categories, can come a bit more naturally than others. And I think what I'm finding is that as adults, perhaps play isn't something that we prioritise, and it doesn't come easy to us. And so they were very much giving ideas of things that people could do around play. Art is a brilliant opportunity to sort of spend more time with children. So Dan Hughes is a expert who, psychoanalyst, couldn't think of the word, who developed PACE, and based on his conversations and the therapy that he provided to adopters and foster carers. And he described playfulness as being open, ready, calm, relaxed, and engaged. And that activity could be something that's really informal, or it could be a structured play. Acceptance is unconditional acceptance, secure, safe, and loved, making the child feel all of those things. Curiosity without judgment, when children become more aware of their own inner life. And empathy, a sense of compassion for children and their feelings. And so really, I wanted to talk a bit about how Keeley and I have taken on the discussion about play and the importance about play. And we also have used some of Brené Brown, who I think if you've been in the group will know that I'm a big fan of a lot of the writing that she's done. She says that play is the core of creativity and innovation, and anything that makes us lose time and self-consciousness. And I think that's something that more and more I'm becoming aware of. When you talk to people who are trying to perhaps raise their profile or do something new or extend their skills, adults can get very self-conscious, and that can be a bit of a barrier to doing things that are new or exciting or creative. And play can create the space for new ideas, for new experiences. And so Brene Brown suggests that cultivating play is a key guidepost to living a wholehearted life, which is when people very much throw themselves into new experiences, perhaps making themselves vulnerable, and living a life to the full. And I think we all sort of perhaps try and aspire to do that, but it's quite a challenge sometimes. So why I'm talking about play is because we are doing some sessions next week that are free, and I really hope that you're going to be able to join us. There's 2 sessions. We're either doing, you can either or both. They'll be pretty much the same curriculum, but we're talking about 5 ways to increase your child's attachment to you. And that's going to be on Wednesday, the 12th of May. That's on Instagram. It'll be live. So just come to @diversity_adopt, my Instagram, at 7:30. And we've got a live webinar on Friday, the 14th of May, which if you click on the link that I'll put the link down below after this live, it will be, if you give me your email address, then we'll send the link to you, the Zoom link. And we're doing it that way just to avoid any one who isn't committed to adoption to come on during the live webinar. Obviously, we want people who are interested and interested in finding out more. So that's 5 ways to increase your child's attachment to you, and that's Wednesday the 12th of May on Instagram and at @diversity_adopt, or Friday the 14th webinar, and the link is actually bit.ly increase attachment, but I'll put it on the chat as well. So I hope you're going to be able to join us. I'm really looking forward to talking to you more about it, and have a good rest of the day. You take care. Bye.